Be or get into RV transport or just transporting vehicles in general. Best way to do it, or the easiest way to do it, is download the Driver Pulse app on your phone. You can find it in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And then you would research or search on there for RV transport or box truck transport, step van transport, rental car transport, or the other keyword is drive away. You put RV drive away, box truck drive away, auto drive away, stuff like that, and these companies will pop up on the app. And I say do it through the app because if you do it just randomly looking up through the internet, which you can do it that way too, you either have to apply independently on each company's website if they have it, or a lot of times when you talk to recruiting, they'll tell you to download the app and apply there. And they all go through the app because they're trying to make the app all of a one-stop shop eventually, so that when you, which is both a good and a bad thing, because that way when you apply there with one company, other companies you can easily click to apply to them. And then down the line, if you were to ever do something bad, like really bad speeding, 25, 30 mile an hour over the limit, the speed limit or something, and got caught with reckless driving on one company, you basically be blackbarred or banned on all of them because they can all see that you've done that through your driving record and whatnot. It's posted on the app every time that each individual company runs your driving record. They can share it with each other, and that's what they're eventually going to get to doing to kind of cover their butt, so to speak. So it's just easier to download the Driver Pulse app, apply through that, and just search for auto drive away, RV transport, box truck transport, all those kind of keywords, and look up on YouTube how to do it from other people as well. And then after you apply on the app and you put all your information in there, the beauty of that app is once you apply, it saves all your information for the next time, and you just have to enter your name and your social security number again to confirm that it's you, and then they can autofill all of your information that you already applied to one company with to the next company. So it makes applying to multiple companies easier. So you go on there and you apply for the company. After you do that, they will send you a packet that basically says you have to, on the app itself, you have to take and watch these videos. They'll either have you do it on their independent website portal thingy that they sign you up for, and you go there and watch their videos and take their test, safety videos basically, or they have you do it right there in the app, depending on the company. So you watch a whole bunch of generic safety videos, and then you have to take these stupid little quizzes. It's pretty easy to do. They want everybody to pass, so it's pretty easy to do anyway. But you have to take it just so that they know, where they kind of get a sense that you know how to drive safely, or they can tell their insurance that, yeah, he took this test and yada yada. So you take these test videos and they see how you do with that, and at the same time, after you've done that, they send in for your driving record, because you give them all the information they need to pull your driver record, and you sign the thing on the app that says, allows them the permission to do that. They pull your driving record from whatever state you have a driver's license in, and they check that state and any other states that you've had a driver's license in, and they mainly check for the last 3 or 5 years. And during that time, you can't have any extensively bad stuff on your driving record, like reckless driving or DUI, etc. Or obviously you wouldn't qualify. And then after they check and confirm that, and they tell you you're good with that, they will eventually have you go get a DOT physical, which you might as well just go do anyway. If you seriously want to get into this business, you might as well fork up the money up front and pay the $80 to $85 DOT physical and go get that done, so that, because they won't proceed with you until you have the physical done anyway. And you only have to do it once. You don't have to do it for each and every company. You do it the one time for DOT, and it's good for 2 years. And basically the easiest way to do that is to go on the internet and look up DOT physical, and it'll give you locations to where to go. Or Flying J and Pilot has come out with a DOT medical office at some truck stops. They try to do one truck stop, I think it is, every state. The last time I did mine was out in Phoenix. So you can look up through Pilot Flying J, and they have a medical exam office that basically just does that for DOT physicals, because there's so much demand for it for all the truckers. So you can go through that route if it's easier to find it that way, or you just look up online the DOT physical, and it'll give you an address of where to go and take it. You go there and they basically do like what would be a regular high school sports physical, stuff like that. If you've gone to any kind of football or basketball or any kind of that type of physical, that's basically the same thing they do there. They check everything that way. And then they check, of course, your vision to make sure you can drive. The main things they're worried about is high blood cholesterol or the leg syndrome that you can get from driving all the time, sitting all the time, I should say. They check your legs and stuff like that. And then they check your vision. So make sure you can drive down the road safely. And that costs about $80 to $85. And if you're serious about getting into any kind of auto transport business, you might as well just go get your DOT physical, because none that I know of will let you drive without one. So it's just easier to get that out of the way up front. It costs $80 to $85. You only have to do it the one time. Works for all the companies, and it's good for 2 years. Then after you have that, they'll ask you to come in and do a drug test and a driving test. The driving test is pretty simple and easy. They just have you go around the corner and they make sure you can drive something bigger, but usually, because again, they want the drivers to stay, to pass all their tests pretty much, so they can get as many drivers out on the road as they can. They would probably put you in a Class B if it's an RV transporting company. In my experience, anyway, they put you in a small Class B and they just let you drive around and see if you can at least handle the small Class B. Some of the companies that are a little more serious about it, they'll put you in a big old Class C right off the bat to see if you can make the wide turns. And that's, in my opinion, the way they should be doing it, to weed the people out who can't do it. And if you have never driven a bigger truck or camper in your life, either go borrow your friend's camper or RV or something like that and go around with it a little bit, so you got kind of the idea of how the height of it and the length of it. Or if you don't have anybody like that, go rent a nice big U-Haul rental truck. Help some neighbor or friend or whatever move with it. It won't cost you that much for the day. And go drive around town with a big old truck. If all you've ever driven in your entire life is one of these small little, like say Honda Accord 4-door cars, it's a big difference between that and trying to squeeze a U-Haul truck or an RV into these parking lots. Go try to drive it into fast food stops, into your smaller parking lots. I'm not talking about Walmart and stuff. I'm talking about like your bank, your fast foods, your insurance office, places that naturally have smaller parking. And you'll notice real quick how you have to watch everything. And then some of them, you'll notice how small is too small parking lot to navigate a bigger vehicle like that in and around. And that would benefit you before you take that test. But the main thing with the driving test, they just make you go around town a little bit and make sure that you are making wide enough turns for everything to clear. Then the other thing is, they take and have you do a drug test, and it's paid for by the company. They just give you an address and you go there. So a lot of times it helps to have wheels, although I didn't have wheels when I was doing some of this. But it helps to have wheels or access to the city bus or something, but they'll figure out a way for you to get to the drug exam thingy. You go there and you pee in a cup, and then they pretty much immediately send the results back to your company. And the company knows, and then you're up for random drug tests throughout your entire employment. They can pull you at any time to do it, and I think they have to do it once a year, some of them, or once every couple of years. I don't know when mine are come due, but that's the things that just so you know what to look out for. Now, on the averages of what you would make if it's worth your time to come out here on the road, a lot of it has to do with transportation costs. If you don't come out here with your own tow car, and even then, tow car has its own transportation costs. But if you come out here on foot, like I'm doing, which is possible to do, you can literally come out here with the bag or a couple bags worth. I would recommend having one bag, a decent sized, bigger bag for work stuff, because you get to pack around. You're supposed to pack around the triangles, the emergency road triangles, for when you're on the road, because not all the outfits that you drive will actually have them in it. Most of them do, but the RVs don't. So if you're RV transporting, you should, and you have to have those road flare triangle deals with you. If you're doing box truck and step van and some other stuff, anything that's commercial is already usually going to have the fire extinguisher and the triangles in the vehicle already, since it's commercial. You don't have to carry around a fire extinguisher, because even the RVs have a fire extinguisher in them. So virtually everything you wheel drive for these companies does have a fire extinguisher in it already, but some of them don't have the triangles in them. And then you have to pack around a bunch of sets of plates if you're working for different companies. You'll have to pack around like the license plate fasteners and a way to fasten the license plates onto the rigs, a bunch of zip ties. If you're hauling or if you're transporting what they call incomplete chassis or cutaways, they're basically a truck without the box on it and stuff like that. They're coming from the factory, and then you're basically taking it from the factory that it was built at to a body shop that they're going to put the box on or the utility bit on it from there, and you're basically transporting it one from one location to the other. And being that it's incomplete, they basically strap the mud flaps, temporary mud flaps, across on a board at the end of it, and then those are just zip tied on, and half the time they're only half-ass zip tied on, so bring your own heavy-duty zip ties, I would recommend, and even the smaller zip ties also. The smaller zip ties come in handy so that when you have these oddball RVs and box trucks and stuff that don't have the license plate, either you don't have the fasteners for it yet because the factory doesn't put it on or whatnot, it's just easier to zip tie it to the ladder sometimes than to, or that's the more faster way to get on the road and go, is just zip tie your plate up on the ladder. About half the time I zip tie onto the ladder, and then half the time I use fasteners and screw in with the license plate is supposed to go, because it does have the light on most of the vehicles, so you can drive at night, but we're technically not supposed to drive after dark most of the time anyway. So if I know it's only a 2-day run or something very quick and easy, I just zip tie it to the ladder of the RV or to the end of the box truck or whatnot and go during the day, because I only drive during the day anyway for me personally. But the general rules of thumb, which you learn in those safety videos, and I say that while rolling my eyes because I've watched a lot of safety videos. Each company has like 13 or 14 of them, and just because you watched the one company's safety videos doesn't mean it counts for the other company. And I kind of tend to think they need to have like a national clearinghouse for that, so that all the safety videos, you only have to take them once and you qualify for all the companies. I mean, that'd be easy to do. And I say that because all the safety videos are pretty much the same exact thing for every company, even though you get to watch it over and over. But anyway, it's a sidekick. The point I was getting to is, on these safety videos, they tell you, obviously, not to drive in adverse weather conditions like hailing or snowing or raining if at all possible, and not to drive at night, because at night there's less visibility to see people, cars, wildlife, anything that could happen. Your vision is restricted at night. Some people actually have problems driving at night as to what they can actually see too on top of it. So just in general, they try to tell you not to drive at night if at all possible. Now, you can drive a couple hours into the evening or early in the morning if you want to, or something like that, but the idea is not to drive overnight. And they'll be able to tell that because we are running electronic logs, and they will show you this. You'll have you download the Keep Trucking app. Each company pretty much uses it. It's an ELD, or electronic logging device, and it keeps track of your time when you drive, when you're on duty, and when you're supposed to be asleep. It's the basic gist of it. And that's just to make sure that you're not getting on the road and are too tired to operate. And so, because of that, it's tracking your time. You don't want it to show on your log that at 3 in the morning, you were cruising down the interstate. I mean, occasionally you can get away with it here and there, but that's not a good habit to get into. And just in general, with the logs anyway, restricting your hours, because driving time, you have a driving time of 11 hours. You have a shift time total of 14 hours. This sounds complicated, but you'll get used to it after you've done it for a while, because you have to log every day, so you'll get used to it. And it sounds bad, but it's really just a couple clicks on an app and you're done. It's not a big deal. But in general, you have 11 hours worth of a time frame to drive. So if you start at noon, you have to be done at 11 o'clock at night. And that's easy to add up because, in terms of driving, you have to be done. If you were to start at noon and drive all the way through at 11, which you can't do anyway, because you have to fill up eventually. It's very rare that you can drive one of these bigger vehicles all day long. Although I have had one big old box truck that I could have driven 800 miles or more straight with, and that one I could have done all night long, but it's very rare. So anyway, you have 11 hours that you can drive. You have a 14-hour day total. So if you start at noon, you would have to be done by 2 o'clock in the morning total with everything, because that's your 14 hours. And that sounds complicated, and you're like, well, why 14 hours? Because you have to take a 10-hour break. So 14 and 10 is a 24-hour day. And that's why they split it at 14 and 10. Every 14 hours, you have to take another 10-hour break. And it sounds annoying. Some people don't like the logs. I, however, do. Back when I was expediting, you could run all day, all night on an 800 or 1,200 mile run, because expediting is time sensitive freight that you haul in a high top van, and they're literally paying you to go direct. Take as little breaks as you can, and just the fuel breaks, and eat and keep those wheels rolling, and you just literally go A to B all night long. And it sounds exciting and whatnot, but you get worn out on it pretty quick, or at least I did. And I don't like living that way, because all I ever did was drive and sleep. But anyway, with the logs, I can take my time because they can't push me over. That max I could probably drive with little breaks is like 600 miles within that time frame, give or take, but I hardly ever do 500 miles, let alone that. My average lately has been about 300 to 350 miles a day, give or take. And this weekend, because I took a weekend run that was way short, it was 557 miles total from Nashville up to Detroit area where it's loading at or delivering at. And you could technically do 557 miles in one day, technically. And I took it on Friday, but I knew by the time I got to it, the delivery on Friday, they'd be closed. So I have all weekend anyway. And I told my dispatcher that I will deliver on Monday. So I have basically the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and part of Monday to get it there. So this weekend, I'm only driving basically 150 miles a day. But anyway, that's a side note. It's a fact that I don't want to spend my life just doing nothing but driving and sleeping. My touchpad is messing up. I'm hoping it's keeping up with me. I'm not sure it is. I may have to redo this video, I'm not sure. So I will end this video now here and see how the touchpad does it. If it doesn't work right, I'm going to use my phone. But anyway, like and subscribe, leave comments, and we'll catch you in the next piece.